Hello, this is a story which for once is not a Bible story, but it is a story I would like to tell. Nicholas was born more than 1700 years ago in a place that we now call Turkey. His mum and dad, who were quite rich, believed in taking care of people who were poorer than themselves. They taught Nicholas to be a follower of Jesus. Nicholas spent a lot of time at the church, listening to stories of God and trying to understand them. He saw how his parents looked after people who were poor or sick. Sadly, when Nicholas was still quite young, his mum and dad both got the same disease as the people they were looking after. They both died, and Nicholas had to go and live with his uncle, who was a bishop. Seeing that Nicholas loved God more than anything, and how he studied hard and prayed often, his uncle trained him to be a priest. Being an only child, Nicholas inherited everything his parents had. Believing what Jesus taught, that you should sell all you have and give the money to the poor, Nicholas used his whole inheritance to help the needy and the sick and suffering. He became a priest and was made a bishop at the age of 30. There are many stories about Nicholas and the things he did for others. In fact, you have probably heard of him before. One famous story might explain why people sometimes hang up stockings for presents. It's about a poor man who had 3 lovely daughters. In those days, a father had to give money or something valuable called a dowry to his daughters' future husbands. But the man didn't have any money at all. He was so poor that it looked as if the eldest daughter would have to be sold to be a slave. When Nicholas heard this sad story, he put a bag of gold on the man's windowsill without being seen. The man was so overjoyed, he tried to find out who had left the gold so he could say thank you, but nobody knew. Nicholas tried to do the same thing for the second daughter's wedding, but the man was always by the window. So, as he was hurrying past the house, Nicholas threw the bag of gold through the open window before the man saw him. It landed in a sock which had been hung by the fire to dry. Of course, the man was hoping that this generous stranger would do the same thing again for his third daughter, but he was desperate to say thank you. So when the daughter was wanting to get married, he waited by the window day and night. Nicholas didn't want to be praised for his kindness. He wanted God to get the glory. But he saw that he couldn't put the gold through the window secretly this time. So he went round the back of the house and dropped it down the chimney. Hearing the money rattling in the hearth, the man ran outside and chased after Nicholas and caught him. He hugged Nicholas tightly and kept thanking him for saving his daughters. But Nicholas begged the man to keep his name a secret. Can you think of anyone else who doesn't like to be seen and sometimes gives his presents down the chimney? And did you know that the candy canes that we see at Christmas develop from the shape of a bishop's crozier or staff? Another well-known tale suggests that although Nicholas was famous for his kindness, he could also have a very short temper. It was at the Council of Nicaea where one of our creeds was written. A man called Arius from Egypt was teaching that Jesus the Son was not equal to God the Father. As Arius argued, the other bishops listened respectfully, but Nicholas became more and more upset. Finally, he couldn't bear it any longer. He got up, crossed the room, and punched Arius in the face. Everyone was shocked. The Emperor Constantine said the bishops themselves must decide the punishment. Nicholas had his bishop's robes and Bible taken away from him, and he was thrown into a prison cell. The story goes that Nicholas was visited in his cell by Jesus himself. Jesus said, "Why are you here, Nicholas?" And Nicholas answered, "Because I love you, Lord." Jesus told him to control his temper, but thanked him for defending the truth. When Nicholas was found in his prison cell the next day, he was dressed in his bishop's robes, reading his Bible. Bye-bye for now.